Okay, in this video module, what we're going to do is take a look at how we can set up a function whose job is to handle sort of an initialization of entity relationships when a level is launched. Now, you'll find if you start looking through the id Software scripts that come with Doom 3 that they do this often with a function called setup_objects. So that's going to be the function name that we're going to use here. We're going to kind of follow along with their naming standard. Now, the job of setup_objects is to do just that. It's to go in and handle binding entities that need to be bound together. Like let's say you have a bunch of machine parts or something. You would bind those as the level launched. Or if you wanted to set up specific times, acceleration times, deceleration times, or just general times for various movers, or light colors for dynamically controlled lights, etc. And we would do all of these in the setup objects, which would be fired or called, if you will, from the main function when the level is launched. So let's go and do that. First thing I want to do is we'll just start out by defining our function. So void setup_objects, open, close, curly brace. So there we go. Nothing in it, so nothing's going to happen at the moment. What we need to do is go ahead and jump back over into Doom Edit and put something in our scene that we can bind. So let's go ahead and come back over here to Doom Edit. And let's just do a light, Logan. How about a light on top of this platform right here and bind the light to it through script so that the light's going to travel along with our object.
Yeah, sounds good.
So what I'm going to do is just come over here and right click, add a light in, and let's take that light and we'll move it to about right there. Let's go ahead and hit J to bring up our light editor and bring our radius down to, I don't know, maybe something around 80. So let's go ahead and click OK on that. And I don't know, that looks kind of good. Let's see, where is our light at over here?
Up above with the
so,
ZX.
yes, it's way up above. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and just switch over, grab this guy, and move him someplace really far down. I like that right there. So now that we have that in place, as a matter of fact, if I just jump over here and hit F7, yeah, that's nice and bright. So let's go ahead and hit F3. I'm liking the way everything looks. Let's go ahead and control back over to a top view. Now what I want to do is switch over here to my Entity Inspector and set the name of this guy. So right now his name is light_7. Let's go ahead and give him something that we can recognize. Again, keep in mind one important thing that you may want to not forget to do when dealing with the inspector over here. Let's just deselect and reselect just so that everything refreshes properly. And we'll just come over here and let's call this, give it a name of, I don't know, lift light. That makes sense. Alright, so with that in place, let's go ahead and move this down. Now, if we were to save this out and jump into the game, even though, let's go ahead and come back over to context, let's save this out, even though setup objects is in there, nothing's going to happen at the moment. So we'll jump back over here, we'll go ahead and hit F2, and we'll come back into our level. So let's start this off. So we should be able to see a light in there now that's illuminating our lift, and we do. Lift passed right through it, light is still down, illuminating the walls as seen there. So let's go ahead and jump out of there. Let's come back over here. How do we bind one entity to another? It's very simple. If we jump back over here to the Doom_event script, you guys remember, go into this thing often, look through it, find functionality, find events that will help you accomplish what it is you're trying to do. All entities should be able to be bound to other entities, so let's look through here with something called bind. Bind. Entity master, in other words, the parent. So child being bound to the parent. So let's come back over here to our script and let's go ahead and write that in. So I'm going to tab over and we'll just go ahead and type $, I think I called it lift light, right, Logan?
Yep.
So lift light dot bind, and then who are we binding to? Who's the master? $my lift. And if you guys forgot my lift already, just look down here and that is the name of our lift. So now that this is in place, if I save this out and come back over into Doom Edit, hit F2 all nice and happy, go ahead and get back into here, we're going to see that it still doesn't work. If you remember from the last lesson, we said that you must call your functions in order for them to work. It's like back to the old teaching my daughter how to do dishes. I've taught her how to do it, but I have not specifically told her go and do it. So the light is not going with it. So let's go ahead, quit out of this. Let's come back into context, and we need to make a call to set up objects. So I'm just going to copy set up objects. We'll come down here, and that's going to be one of the very first things I'm going to do. Let's go and set up objects. Let's tab this over, and then we'll just go ahead and leave a comment in there saying set up all bindings times, etc. and we'll call setup objects to handle that. So if we save this now and jump back over here, and let's go ahead and hit F2 and run our level one more time. Let's kind of back away, make sure this all works. And look at the light. It is going along for the ride. How nice is that? And down. And now it's going to shoot back across. And there you go. So let's go ahead and quit out of this. Back over here. And now we have effectively created a sort of initialization function for initializing entity relationships upon level launch. Okay? Again, the name setup objects. This, of course, could have been any name that I wanted because I had to make a call to it from down here in main anyways. So it could have been setup my objects or whatever. But again, it's a name that's used over and over inside the id scripts that come along with.
And I mean, because of that, if someone else was to look at your script, immediately when they saw setup objects, they'd already have an idea of what you were doing there.
Exactly. And we just set up all of our bindings in here and all of the other things. So now when you guys start looking at the Doom 3 scripts that come with the game, you should have a better clue of what's going on when you see setup objects. But with that, that's going to pretty much cover everything that I wanted to talk about in this lesson and bring it to a close.